Hello, conference report. I mean, first of all, you mentioned about something that I'm saying you should believe in. I think it was something about consistency. And maybe I am implying that in some ways. I am saying what I think is true. I know you're someone that wants to believe some definition of the word true, or things or whatever. So, I mean, I might be making compelling, indirectly compelling arguments. And in the history of this argument, I was definitely saying I do not think people should be able to get away with saying the physics has already answered this question. Um, and you don't say that. You instead allow us to come back to a philosophical study of this, a subjective study. What does it feel like? And I think it's awesome because then you've started talking about, say, the optical illusions of the will, the conscious illusions. And I've spent a lot of time noticing that myself. I am by no means someone that says that the will is all that strong. Now, I do err on that side where I think the will should take responsibility sometimes for things even outside of its control, so it can take responsibility for doing something about them. An example would be reparations for, say, a people that were attacked and massacred by your nation 3 generations ago. You might owe them reparations. You personally didn't do it, obviously. It obviously was not your direct will. You weren't even alive. But by taking responsibility, in some sense, you can take responsibility for the action of what we do now. But in a sense, that's like a mathematics. It's a way of thinking about it. It's not that we actually think we had that free will. So where is the in-between ground? Well, I definitely, if you're playing a demo of a video game, I think it's a mistake to have the illusion that you're controlling it. So if we could start talking about what the illusions of the will are, then that's great. It might turn out that I believe less in the traditional view of free will than a lot of the people in this conversation, because I think that using the will is an art form, and I don't think that it's easy. I don't think that it's automatic or magical. I think that whatever the laws of physics are that allow there to be genuine choices, I can imagine physical laws that would allow that, but I don't know that any of them hold. But whatever it is, it's an influencer. It's not the 90% of the physics allow that. So even if the will is strong, it's by us. Even if it was really, really strong, it would be by some very delicate balance and alignment, of weak things. Just like, again, the magnets, they're very weak magnetic forces, atom by atom. If you add them all together, if you align them very carefully, then you'll have a big magnet. If you break or crush that, or it's a pile of sand that you've aligned, it can easily get out of alignment. So in that sense, it's still weak. There's been some sort of an amplification through process or an alignment process, either way. So it's something like that. I'm willing and even predisposed to go ahead and assume the weakness of the will in the face of nature and conditions and everything else. I also tend to believe something akin to Isaac Asimov's idea of psychohistory, I think it was called, in the Foundation series, where individuals are unpredictable, just like individual electrons. There's an unpredictability there. But millions of individuals are predictable. So in that sense, we generate things from the conditions that people are in. But what's really going on is that there's some sort of control, a curve that's meaning, hey, 9 out of 10 people become thieves when they are in this situation. You don't know which of the one. And you don't know that it won't be 2 or 3 escape it. You don't know which. You don't actually know how many. But it's pretty unlikely that 10 are actually going to escape, but even that can happen and will happen every once in a while. And so you have these laws of probability on the individual level. Now, I have an ulterior motive for liking that kind of thing, because as a relativist, it's the same kind of thing that attracts me to relativism, because it means that we can treat individuals as unique individuals responsible for their own actions. And, sorry, that brings in the will again, but anyway, and still say things like, well, there's a lot of crime in the ghetto because of the economic oppression. It's like we can have the causes, and the individuality. And as for potential physics, yeah, quantum physics shows this because it's like you have multiple possibilities. They all coexist at once. How one is chosen, we don't know. But that one is chosen and all are materially possible, that's the kind of thing we're looking for, right? Several materially possible possibilities. There aren't illusions that they're possibilities, and one that happens. Um, the And also, I think we could talk more about the Wolfram stuff. I do kind of understand it pretty good, I think, for how well people understand that kind of stuff, but it's very complicated, and Wolfram himself is really trying to understand what he's discovered and what's going on, and so, I don't understand it in itself, but I mean, I understand enough to maybe share interpretations that might edify others, and I'm confused enough about it to learn the same way. So anybody interested in that, we can talk some Rule 30. I've been thinking a lot about Rule 30 lately, and how even the regular part has irregularities, so it's kind of predictable, but every once in a while that's an interesting part of it. So yeah. Cheers. Thanks for the food for thought. Much food for thought in your side, from your side of this free will discussion and debate.